I'm done with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or sometimes they'll go in deep, and you're just like, well, that's just so
and
deep
it's
to
like,
go into the
Yeah.
mess of that.
Yeah, and the thing is,
but it clears.
I think it clears, and I do feel that there's some things, you know, I think naturally we try and skirt around certain things that, you know, I know you're very sensitive, I'm very sensitive. There's certain things I feel like, oh my God, can I really bring this through? And, you know, you hesitate. You have these moments of hesitation because you don't want to dig up real stuff that has happened to people, and you also want to give them a positive experience. But when someone pipes up and goes, you know what, this is what happened to my mom, why didn't she tell me this, why didn't she tell me this, and this happened, and it's something that you've already seen, then you go, okay, so, and this is why I always have this phrase, and people know me for it, is do you want to know everything? Because listen, I need you to also take some responsibility of having the reading.
Yes.
And so what my aim is to actually help mediums and also people who are trying to work in this field to really bring about a conscious awareness in their readings. Because a lot of people are not consciously aware. They sit and wait for the information to drip feed into their hand, and drip, drip, drip. It's like Chinese water torture sometimes, I'm telling you. But what it is it's about asking the spirit and communicating with the spirit and saying, hey, I need to know about this. And if they say, you know, this happened, then you might want to follow it on, because therefore you're not leaving a person hanging. Yes. And you're dealing with two personalities. You're dealing with the personality in front of you, but the personality of the spirit. And not many people, and I don't want to use the word muggle, but I'm going to use it because the muggles, all right, who aren't the...
It's a Harry Potter reference.
It's a Harry Potter
for
reference.
Those of you who don't know.
All right, so David Gweisman loves talking about this, which
yes,
I love, and
we
he's
did a
been on your show.
that.
I love it. So anyway, but those who are not mediums don't quite understand the process. Right. And so I feel as though it's really important that they understand the process of how mediumship works as well. So that's the reason why I came into, you know, let's look at mastering the message. You know, the evidence is there. It's about getting the evidence, but let's take it one step further. Let's be consciously aware as mediums that we are carrying someone's life in the palm of our hands, and that we have to truly, truly think consciously aware of the person in front of us, but also allow spirit that voice, and that we have to use left brain and right brain equally, and that we just can't rely on right brain, because then you get that Chinese water torture.
You're in woo-woo land.
You are.
So, you know, the left brain absolutely has its uses when you're working intuitively, because it helps you give a framework of words to what you're experiencing, because you have to find some way of expressing the ineffable.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Trying to put it into a definition of the self that goes on. And so I agree with you about that. It's a crucial element. And that's where spiritual counseling comes into play. That's
right.
Mediumship is a form of spiritual counseling. Sometimes you're very much the intermediary of counseling between the client and the person in spirit. Right. And you want to honor what both of them need for the healing of that moment. Now, are all readings dun dun dun? No. A lot of times it's just, hi, I love you. And I noticed that you just painted your living room.
I'd be 6 foot under. I swear, if all my readings were that heavy, I would be 6 foot under with them, I swear, because it does take it out of you sometimes.
You know, sometimes it's just like, oh, and you know, that you just had a dream about me 2 days ago. That was totally me. You know, sometimes it's that stuff.
That's right.
It's not all the deep, heavy.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Thank goodness. So, you know, sometimes people are like, but do they have anything important to tell me? Because they're worried.
I know.
But, you know, ultimately we have free will. We manifest our destiny. And it's up to us to find a measure of our own peace.
That's right.
And not necessarily look for external confirmation or validation from our loved ones in spirit, like they're the peanut gallery. I tell people, they're the peanut gallery. They don't really get a vote. You know,
they don't.
This is your life.
You know what I always say, and this is classic, I always say this, I say, listen, if your father went bankrupt 5 times, are you really going to take financial advice from him?
No. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You know, if your mother had eight husbands, are you going to take her dating advice?
Example of what not to do, poster child.
But it's true. A lot of and you and I have these conversations a lot about where people come and they are desperate to know about their lives.
Oh, yeah.
And I know certainly in Lilydale, and I have a little bit more freedom because I'm not a Lilydale registered medium. And I don't work in Lilydale. So I want everyone to know that I'm not allowed to work in Lilydale.
She's being very clear about that.
Very clear, okay? I have a place that I do my readings outside of Lilydale. But in Lilydale, it's very much spiritualism. It is a communication with the other side, which means they are not going to tell you if you are dating the right guy, if you should change your car. They'll give you their advice, but sometimes they don't care about this material world.
Yeah, sometimes they don't care. It's just their opinion. Yeah. That's all they can offer, and you have to listen to your own soul. And so many times it's about getting people to understand that that's the place they need to work on in their lives. Listening to their soul.
They have to.
Not their head, not their heart, their soul.
Yeah, because it's their soul that matters. And actually, we come into life with all our own answers anyway.
Often we do, and then some others we find along the way.
Yeah, we just journey along.
Yes,
you know?
It's fun that way.
And it's
embrace the mystery.
Seriously, if you knew everything,
how boring.
How boring! I'm telling you, if I knew everything, I would not have, had all the heartache and upset, but learnt the lessons along the way.
Well, the way I express it to people is, if we were reading from the script, how boring would that be? And I would not sign up for it.
Yeah.
So you have to leave room for the magic to happen.
Yes, and that's beautiful. It is the magic to happen.
Yes, yeah. and that's also how a reading works. You never know how it's going to unfold. No. And you do need to allow the medium to proceed in their own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that, we all work a little differently. So usually a medium will express to you at the beginning how they work, so that you have an awareness of, are you allowed to talk or not?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you ask questions or not?
I think it's important we educate our sitters, our clients, mainly because a lot of people don't know how to do it. They don't know whether to sit there. And it's funny because I had a reading last night, okay? So I had one of my students, an old student of mine, has some students of his own now. And he's like, he posted on his private Facebook page, hey, I've got somebody that wants a reading. I've got to do a reading. Any chance that, someone, I said, like, sure. And I'm like, oh no, gosh,
what have you done?
I felt sorry for the poor woman. She'd never done a reading before. And I didn't know how to be her sitter. I had no idea. I knew how to sit for me, but I didn't know how she worked.
Right.
And I didn't know what she was prepared to do and really roughly what I was to expect. And so, remember that you have to come in. You have to listen to your reader. You have to listen to the medium, because
the intro is important, people.
So important. Oh my God, I cannot tell you.
Don't just zone out.
Don't just sit there and go, okay, so tell me. It doesn't work that way.
No.
Because actually that little intro actually helps us as mediums kind of get into our groove.
Yes.
And I feel as though that's what I'll be teaching, just sort of help people sort of heighten their way of connecting. Because I don't know what about you, and I'm sure you do, but I like to have my moment with the client, and I go quiet and I set an intention in my head. Some people say a prayer, but I need that moment with my client just to quiet, just to connect.
Absolutely. Well, you've seen how I work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
amazing.
Aw, thank you.
I'm not supposed to say that, but she's amazing.
And so I really feel it's important, the intro, but then the prayer, because that centers us together, the client, the medium, and spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
And it keeps it in that sacred context. Yeah. And you're only asking for that which is in the highest and best good.
Yeah,
and it's amazing what unfolds in that gentling of the energy. There's an anticipation of growth during that time, but there's this stillness that I can feel. Yeah. Among all the pulsing energy.
Absolutely. And it calms the client down.
It does.
It calms them down into this, like, okay, let me breathe. All right, because they've come into Lilydale, and I can't speak for Lilydale, but I see them rushing around from place to place to place. They go from the stump, they go to Forest Temple, then they go and have a reading, they go and do this, and their energy is like, oh my God, and they're going from one place to the next, and just that moment just calms everything down. Yes. And we need it Spirit needs it, and you need it.
Because then you can pay it. I call it radio stations, in the sense that, you know, when I'm tuning into spirit, it's like finding the right radio station. And so I raise my vibration to that.
Yeah.
Do that. We talk about raising the vibration as mediums.
Totally.
You know, yes, we are spiritual beings, but we do get very much into our mundane human consciousness.
Of course we do.
As we should.
As we should.
Because it's a lot of fun. But we also need to attune ourselves to those people in spirit. And everybody has their own vibrational frequency.
Yes,
that's their essence.
Yes.
That's their energy signature that's uniquely theirs. And that's what you're tuning into.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's amazing what can happen in the message. And I'm glad that you're talking about mastering the message.
Yeah.
Because it's important, the elements.
I think it is. And I also think, for me, I learn from everybody else's reading. So in everyone else's reading, I get messages for myself, because I feel as though it's vitally important to make sure that we also receive. You know, there's sometimes philosophy that can come through that is so powerful.
Very much so.
There's also that healing where you'll have something, and this happens, and I say it to all my students. Often you'll get triggered in readings, you know, something that will happen to yourself. So I'm a cancer survivor twice over. I've had cancer twice. So trust me, I have all of these cancer people who passed away. Yeah. Or I've been, had suicide, and I've had all sorts of different things that have actually happened in my world. Yes. But it triggers you. And if you haven't dealt with your own soul, you haven't dealt with your own stuff, your own grief, you're going to get really triggered. And actually, I've learned so much through my readings on healing and how spirit heals and how people heal. And I feel like the medium also gets a powerful tool, and I will call it a tool, because from something that they have in their reading, they'll take into another reading, go, now I see why I get that. Okay, that's a sign for this, that's this. And it's a continual learning, it's a continual tool.
Learning.
Absolutely.
And you'll start to go through phases where you will have a lot of cancer people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you also go through phases as a medium in your understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And it really starts to firm up what the truth is, with a capital T. You know, as spiritualists, we do get perhaps a window or a better glimpse than other people do as to what it's like in the next.
I know.
In the next world, you know, the planes of existence, the other dimensional spaces, so that we gain a level of peace that most people don't necessarily have.
It's true. My grandmother was a very, very devout spiritualist. I mean, devout. I mean, Wednesday night, Saturday night, she was there. She worked the podium. You know, she did audience reading. Devout spiritualism. But that doesn't mean the fact that she didn't go and have fun, because trust me, she had a lot of fun. But she
knew how to whoop it up.
She knew how to whoop it up on a Saturday night. She knew how to whoop it up. After giving messages, it was so funny.
Wow.
After giving messages, she would then go out and have a game of bingo, and then go to the social club and dance with everyone else's husbands, because she knew she was safe. No one would hit on her, and she'd go home alone, and she would be happy. That's
nobody else in her space.
Oh no, she was happy. Honestly, it's so funny. So. But what's interesting is, as she was passing, it's funny. As she was passing, she had fear. She had fear because a little bit of a human moment, that human experience of like, oh, you know. And I actually said, you know, listen, Nan, you've got so many on the other side.
Yeah,
you've probably got more on the other side than you have here. Let go.
Go have fun.
Go and have some fun. Go and drink with your husband. You know, because you know they were great people, and. I said, they're playing bingo over there. And anyway, now she comes through playing bingo. It's so funny. Dotting up, bingo, and I'm telling you. It's so funny. But she always used to travel. She always used to do all of this stuff.
And now she gets to do it.
And now she gets to do it.
Yeah.
But it was that human moment of just sort of like, oh, I don't know it. And then suddenly she let go.
There's just sometimes a little wrestling that goes on.
It happens.
People, some people really white knuckle it at the
Yeah,
end.
they do.
I'm not going. And it's desperate and it's miserable, and people are not necessarily praying for them to be healed anymore. They're praying for this person to pass because they know that transition will be the most healing thing for them.
And that's interesting because I actually have a lot of clients I mean spirit come through and they say it was a relief to pass, and we know that it was a relief on you, and the guilt that people have because they feel relieved is immense, and I'm like, let go of it.
Yeah, you should feel relieved.
You should feel relieved.
It's done with now, and so many clients will find those moments of saying to their loved one who's passing, "It's okay. We're gonna be all right."
Yeah,
you're going to be okay. And you're going to have to coax and coach certain ones.
That's right.
Certain ones. And Spirit, it's okay that you weren't there. It doesn't matter. And you know what they often say to me is, it's okay that you weren't there. Goodbyes are not forever. That's right. It's just a farewell until the next time. You know what I say? It doesn't matter who's there when we pass. If it did, no one would ever leave the house.
No, it's true.
Never go and do anything.
It's true.
Because and sometimes people who they're crossing, they'll wait till everybody's gone.
They do.
They're like, nobody's watching me.
They do.
I can have my little private release moment.
Because it's the most intimate moment of someone's life.
Absolutely. It's very intimate. And they're not really alone. I mean, they're angels. But sometimes you just don't want people staring at you.
No, it's like
waiting for the last little
is she breathing?
Moment.
Is they breathing? No, because, and I remember my best friend dying. I remember being there when she passed away. And I said, you know what, I'm going to leave. I'm actually going to leave. And, she got to that point, transition, doped up with morphine. And I said to her daughters, I said, this is a private moment for you too. I'm going to leave. And it was almost as though she went, oh, no, you are not. And then she went, and she started breathing again.
You were scared she's going to rise up out of the bed.
Yeah, knowing her, she probably would have done. And I'm seriously, it was like, I can't believe you're doing this. And then she passed it. It was almost as though she's like, oh no, I told you weren't going to leave me, so I'm going to make sure you weren't going to leave. And what was interesting is that intimate moment is so powerful. And I've seen a lot of people pass because of the nature of the work that we do.
Absolutely.
And it's probably one of the most intimate moments. So I'm actually going to say, embrace it. If ever anyone has that moment and has the I want to say the beautiful moment, as much as it's hard, embrace it. Because it's so powerful. And this is what I want to try and get through to a lot of the mediums that I teach, is that we have so much that we can give. We can be the voice to those who are still hanging on, because we can still connect, because they're still sort of there. And then we can also help the living, we can help those who are passing out, and also mediums. Certainly the ones that I encounter around the world, they don't know enough about grief. And grief is something that is so powerful.
Sure is. Everybody grieves a little differently.
We all do.
And they don't necessarily go through nice, neat steps.
Oh gosh, no. Those 5 steps that everyone talks about, oh no, there's going to be 9 or 10, and then you'll go back to number 1.
And it's so funny because sometimes the person in spirit will say to the client, you told everybody you were fine.
Yes.
They left you alone, and now you're like, where is everyone?
I know, it's true.
And so it depends. Some people just are so strong.
Yeah.
To get through those moments. And some people, they collapse, they just can't do anything. Other people, they kind of go into an inner strength
That's
space.
Right, they do.
It's just very fascinating.
It is
just
fascinating.
From a people watching standpoint.
Yeah. We digress. I just love these conversations with you because we just digress.
I know, we tangent.
And it's great. But I feel like everybody watching and everyone listening really should kind of understand in our heads what goes on, because this is a lot of the stuff that happens. Yeah. So that's
absolutely. Those are things that happen behind the scenes. Behind the scenes that happen that are part of bringing through the essence of spirit.
Yeah.
as
Definitely.
I like to call it. And,
Me too.
And bringing through that message, that powerful message. Sometimes they want to talk about the end of their life.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, some people don't.
It's a matter of personal preference.
Yeah.
And a lot of how they relate has to do with their own personality. So if they were a quiet, reserved person,
they're going to come through quiet, reserved.
Yeah. They won't necessarily be all like, hello, look at me.
No, it's true.
You know, sometimes the people who crash through the gate first are the loud mouths.
I know.
So,
yeah. You know what?
They're just like, out of my way. You can just feel them elbowing people.
But you know what I do in my readings is I always say to my students, listen, I want you to get 4 or 5 in. And I want you to focus on the quiet ones. Because it's the quiet ones that are going to back into the corner. Oh, yeah. You're always going to have a loud one. And trust me, they are not going to... they're always going to be in your face until they get the message.
They hog the conversation at the dinner table.
I know.
And you know, you try.
Yeah.
But that just is for the proof. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
That they do that, and that's the dynamic between them. It's even more evidence.
Of course it is. And you know, have you ever got that moment where you're sitting there and you've got like 3 or 4 spirits and you're like, oh my gosh, your mom has just said this to your dad and your dad has just rolled his eyes and he's almost
they have
like
their own reactions.
And then you're actually just the voice of what's going on in your head. And they go, that's just so the dynamics.
Yep, they'll say that is exactly
that
correct.
is exactly.
That is how they handle things.
Yeah. And it's true.
It's further proof that
it makes me laugh.
And, you know, so while we're talking to the client, well, at least for me, this is how it works. When I'm talking to the client, I'm also talking to the people in spirit. So I am handling more than one client. I'm multitasking.
It's true.
Big time. But I don't go, you know, let me connect with them and do the others. And there's not a lot of
You mean your eyes don't roll in the back of your head?
No, there's not a lot of... And I don't go into the whole... and the prop people.
Yeah, no.
You know, I don't go and talk to my spirit guides.
You don't talk to your spirit guides, darling.
I just let them be an automatic pilot. They know what they're doing. Yeah, they do. And they're really good at it. So I don't have to announce to the client, this particular spirit guide of mine is brought forward with your father. You know, I keep it to what is important to the client and relevant to them.
I'm the same.
And they don't need to see all of the stage hands.
No, they don't need. They don't need.
There are stage hands.
They are stage hands. It's not like Ghost in Whoopi Goldberg where she sits there, rolls her eyes back. Although there are something because I've been teaching trance. There are some similarities in that particular thing.
Yes.
But not in a normal reading. I mean, seriously, I don't think I ever mention my spirit guides at all. And when someone asks me about their spirit guides, I actually say to them, that's such a personal thing for you.
This is what I need.
I don't actually want to say to you, your spirit guide name is Betty. Because honestly, for me, I actually had an experience when I was younger that I was so desperate to know who my spirit guide was. I'm like, I had to have that human moment of giving it a name.
Yes.
And so this medium said to me, his name is Josh. So of course, I'm calling this guy Josh is telling me. Well, then I had this amazing, profound experience with my grandmother, who was the medium, and then this amazing, beautiful being that looked like a young version of Neil Diamond. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he came around, and my grandmother said, this is Ben. He will take you from here. And I'm thinking, who's Ben? So the following day, because it becomes so habitual for me to say, and Josh is telling me, and Josh, all of a sudden he went, my name is Ben. And I went, oops. And I don't think I ever brought him into a reading ever again.
Yes.
Because I didn't need him.
Well, ultimately, it's not about what they look like or what their name is. It's how they're working with you that's important. Yeah. And it's the difference between someone telling you the story and you living the story. And that's so important. If you want to get to know your spirit guide people, your stage hands, whatever you want to call them, you need to do that yourself. Mm-hmm. Take the time and the investment. If it's truly important to you,
absolutely,
that's how it will go. And I will say, different spirit guides will show up different phases of your development.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes they will change what they look like. And how they want to be perceived, because that's where that morphing needed to happen within you.
That's right. It's true.
It's fascinating.
I remember doing some healing with, again, someone who had cancer, and I'm standing there and this guide appeared, and I thought, oh, I've got a new guide. Again, it was years ago. I mean, it's got to be, I don't know, 15, in fact, it was way before I came into America. So it's got to be about 15 years ago. And I remember being over looking at this guide and having my hands on, because I used to do a lot of healing, and I was like, wondering who this person, in my conscious mind, wondering. And he went, konnichiwa. Well, I went home to my husband at the time, and I went, I've got a new guide. His name is konnichiwa. And he went, Lisa, that's Japanese for hello.
Yeah, it's just a salutation.
I had no idea.
Whoops.
It was hilarious. So again, I've given up giving them names.
That's right.
Give up, and I don't need the stage hands. And I feel that it's exactly the same. You have to absolutely live the moment. And I always say to my clients, thank you for allowing me to experience your mum, dad, brother, sister, whoever it is.
It's an honor, and it can be a lot of fun.
Oh, it can be.
And
or
eye-opening.
Or not.
Or not. It can be not fun. But some of their people are just characters.
Oh yeah, and the stories that they have. It's like, seriously,
there are people like this in the world.
You do. You wonder, and honestly, you cannot make this stuff up.
Nope.
You can't make this stuff up. You listen to them.
Like,
and
I'm
you
sorry
think,
to talk
wow.
about your mom this way, but
It's true. And I say,
like
I'm so
that.
sorry to say this about your mum. They go, no, say it. And I'm like, listen, she wasn't the easiest character. And they go, you're being nice. And I'm trying to be nice, but it's so
you try to be
interesting.
diplomatic.
You do try and be diplomatic.
That's part of mastering the message.
That
too.
is part of mastering the message. It is very much
Bringing
part
it
of
back.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And I think all of these things that mediums, what they don't realize is, especially if you're learning, you don't realize how much you have to take on and how much responsibility it is.
Yeah.
Because you're carrying that person, you could ruin someone's life in a couple of sentences if you don't say something the correct way.
And the other thing to keep in mind about that is you can only take that which is your own personal responsibility.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot necessarily be in charge of what somebody else thinks.
Correct. You can't.
Or what somebody else feels. And everybody has their own wounds that they're living from, and they may interpret what someone has to say.
Yeah, definitely.
In a light that wasn't meant.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are so many dynamics that go into this, but it is a precious thing.
Yeah,
and
really
I would say, by and large, most mediums are coming from that place.
Definitely.
Of wanting to do something in good faith and in service for others. I know here in Lilydale that's something that's important to us.
Absolutely. It's important. And even though I'm not a registered medium, it's important that that is seen in the outside world when they come through the gates, that they understand the importance, the sacred side.
It is sacred.
Because it's very sacred.
That's why I pray. The prayer is important. And some people say, oh, prayer. Some people get poo-poo about religious or spiritual things. But that is an important essence to what we're doing, and keeping that in that framework of the sacred. That's where it happens. You're connecting with the divine.
Yeah, you are.
And when people have readings, they don't necessarily feel. Some people don't have an awareness of their own souls.
Correct.
So then, when we're in the reading, you could see that things are starting to shift within our consciousness. They're like, "Oh my goodness! If we're talking to my dad, and this is really happening, he's a soul. I have a soul."
Yeah.
And they start acting differently in their life. They
right.
start to have a shift in their consciousness that happens.
Totally.
And so that's part of the purpose of mediumship.
Yeah, definitely.
To help people understand that's a conduit of life for themselves too.
Oh my gosh. And I always say to my students, listen, you're not a one-stop shop.
Yes.
You're really not a one-stop shop. If you're not a licensed therapist, or if you're not a spiritual counselor, or and you've gone through the training, don't pretend to be.
That's right.
Give them a wealth of books to go and read. Go and recommend
there are
them
resources, for sure.
And that's what I got to make sure that they have is a resource sheet. And I said put everything on there, from suicide helpline, AA, everything, you name it, everything on that thing, because you never know who's going to walk through your door.
That's true.
And literally, and I hand it out to so many people, because I'm not a licensed therapist, but I feel as though it's so important to actually have the other people who are experienced bereavement counselors, all
Yes.
of that. Give them that experience.
They need other resources.
Absolutely.
Now, I have to say, I have had clients come, and they said, "Oh my goodness, this reading has been so profound. This is more than I could have received in one therapy session,
Yes.
or even in the years of therapy that
Yes.
I've done. Like somehow that uncovers exactly what they needed to in those moments." And I've actually had professional psychiatrists and psychologists refer their clients, their patients, I guess, to me for that healing purpose.
And I think
it's a very important role mediums serve.
Very important role, because I've had it where people, they come and we've uncovered something in 1 hour that it's taken them 20 years.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, literally, you just don't know.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the healing.
50 years.
I know. Yeah. But I always people say to me, "Oh God, you've changed my life," and I'm like, you know what? I'm just a facet of your change.
Yes.
That's all I am. I'm just a facet of your healing, because what's brought you to me and how you react after this is going to be all completely part of your healing as well.
Well, grief and pain or suffering, however you want to look at that, can be catalysts for people.
Totally.
For them to understand that they can embrace another side of themselves, that it's time to deal with their loved one's mortality, their mortality.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, which is why most people don't really come to this until they're older.
We came younger.
It's okay. It's all right. We're not about ageism.
No,
right?
it's not.
But most people, it's 55 and up, I would say.
It's true.
It's
true.
when it starts to really hit them
Yeah.
pretty hard, because all of a sudden more and more people are passing.
Yeah.
And they're starting to come to that recognition of,
Definitely.
I've got to make some measure of peace about this now.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I never forget this woman. She walked into my house. I just had Charlie, so it must have been about 18 years ago. Gosh, I now feel old. So I remember her walking in, and she looked at me, and she looked behind me, and she said, "I'm here, Celie." So I went, "Oh, come on in." She's like, "Is your mum in?" And I'm thinking, I said, "No, it's me." And she looked at me, and she said to me, "Well, you can't be very good, can you? You're very young." And I was mortified. So in England, right, we give everyone a cup of tea. It cures everything. A cup of tea cures everything.
Of course.
So I said, "Can I get you a cup of tea?" I said, "I'm doing the reading." And her daughter was with her, and she said, "Shh, Mum, I've told you about her. She's been seeing me."
Yeah.
And I was so mean. I don't think I was mean, but I was very blunt. I said, "Can I get you a cup of tea?" And she said, "Yes." And then she said, "I had this reading with this woman, Frances. Oh, she was amazing. Do you know her?" And I just walked out. Well, I got my grandmother's photo, because it was my nan. And I came back in, I said, "Is this the woman?" She said, "Yeah, how do you know her?" I said, "It's my nan. Now, listen, if you want to speak to your husband, Fred, he's waiting for you. Or you can go." I said, "It doesn't matter how old I am."
That's right.
Oh, and she just looked at me. But I didn't have part of the experience. I didn't have the experience to handle a client like that.
Of course not.
Because
you don't expect people to be, I guess, edgy or mean.
No, and to be honest with you, I would have handled her totally, having age on my side,
yes,
and experience on my side, I would have handled her totally different. I would have probably just given her a hug. I said, "It's all right," whatever I would have said. But I just got into my ego. I got into that 20-something ego, and I'm like, how dare you?
Because you were reacting to her energy.
I was reacting to her energy, and now I think experience, and it's right in what you say, a lot of people come to it at a later age.
Yeah.
Where they have the experience, they have the compassion, and they understand it. Where I think when you come to it younger, you actually learn as you're doing it.
I would say that no matter what you learn
anyway,
as you do it, I think that when you're in it, I'm trying to think how long. I've been doing public message work for over 20 years. I don't want to announce my age, but I've been doing public message work for well over 20 years. This will be my 17th year, summer being registered as a Lilydale medium. And I've had to deal with that same thing of people coming and go, "You're so young." And especially with the name Willa. It's such an older name.
Yeah. And your mom, Bonnie, as well.
Yes.
Because your mom does it as well.
Yes, she is. She's a registered medium. And what she does is very special because she's a spirit artist.
Amazing.
And it's really phenomenal what she brings through. But so, yes, I was raised with the understanding of, I think I had a jump start early because of my parents, especially my mother, and being raised in it. It does make a difference. Other people, they weren't raised in it. No. It was maybe poo-pooed in their family, or put off, or you can't experience that. But it was something that was fostered, not forced, in my family.
That's right.
So I think that there were a lot of things that I came to the understandings of early because I was raised with it.
Me too. I was raised in it.
When you're raised in it, it's steeped in the very essence of your being.
Of course. It's almost cellular, isn't it? It's there.
It becomes on an epigenetic level.
So what age were you? And you don't have to tell your age, but what age were you when you gave your first reading?
So, let's see. My first message I was 5 when I had my contact with spirit. It was really profound because one of my young friends passed, and I gave messages that way. But that wasn't in any kind of public way.
Yeah.
So my first public message was in a circle. I was 18, 19 years old here in Lilydale.
Same age as me.
And that's when I was like, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, easy.
It is easy, isn't it?
And other people were struggling with it. It just came naturally. I think as I was raised in it, and I just have a natural proclivity for it. So I think that matters. But not everybody comes from that place. They have denied that place in themselves for so long, and so it does sometimes take them a little longer to master the message.
Yeah, definitely.
Emanuel Swedenborg, 17th century Swedish scientist, right? Incredible.
Yes.
He was 55 when he first had his contact with spirit.
Yes.
He was people in royalty, everybody looked up to this man. He was a big time scientist, and all of a sudden he goes into the woo-woo topic of spirit contact.
It's true.
But he all of a sudden it's like a switch was flipped in this man. Yeah. So whatever age you come to it, it's valid.
Absolutely.
It's valid.
Yeah.
And just because you haven't experienced something personally doesn't mean you can't understand it.
That's right.
Think about when you read a book, and you can feel the essence of those characters in that book. So when I'm doing readings with people, I ask them to share their story with me.
Definitely.
And so having read all the books I've read, they're all just characters in the book.
That's
and they express themselves in that way, in that very real way. And for me, that's what mastery of the message has been about.
And I agree. And I think that's what I'm trying to bring to people, because as I said, so many people think it should be name, address, telephone number, da-da-da-da. It really isn't. I want someone to have the true experience like they're actually in the room with their loved one again.
Yes. You do your best to provide that for them. Absolutely.
Definitely.
And it's up to them to have a responsive experience with themselves too.
Absolutely.
So that's all part and parcel of this. Now we want to mention to people, again, that this is Wednesdays with Willa, and I'm your host, Willa White. And I have as my guest Lisa Williams, and we're talking about mastering the message. And you're going to be teaching this. Is it this weekend or
this weekend coming up?
Okay.
And I'm also doing it in the summer as well in Lilydale as well.
Okay.
So
are there still places for enrollment for this weekend?
Yes, there is.
And how do they contact?
So they can go to lilydaleassembly.org, or they can go to my website, lisawilliams.com, and it's all linked, Facebook, everything else. So they can go wherever. You'll find it. You'll find it.
Sign up if you're interested, and that's here in Lilydale.
In Lilydale,
and then in the summer, what are the summer dates that that's
summer dates? Oh gosh,
or at least a month.
So I know this for a reason. So I'm getting married in September. So I'm not doing anything.
Bling bling.
I know, bling bling. So I'm not doing anything in August.
Nor should you.
No.
Bridezilla needs free reign.
Bridezilla needs free reign. So I'm teaching. No, it's true though. You have not met my bridesmaids.
Oh
dear. So I've got. I know I'm doing mastering the message. I'm doing forensic mediumship, and I'm doing trance. Trance, I think, goes into the beginning of August, but that's when I'm actually focusing. So it's all in July.
It's all in July.
June and July, yes, because we're starting a week earlier.
We are starting a week
June.
earlier. The Lilydale summer season 2019 starts June 21st, and I believe that this is the 140th year.
It's the 140th year.
Amazing.
Yes, it is. And we have also revamped the brochure.
Woohoo.
And so that actually comes to us on Friday.
Oh, awesome.
We get the new brochure on Friday. The new website, you know, the new cover of the website will be launched in coincides with that, which is all very different. But all the workshops are online now.
So you can register online for the Lilydale summer season workshops.
Yep.
And if you're a paper person, as I am, you've been eagerly waiting this paper, because I do better reading a physical piece of paper than a screen.
And it's a thick book this time. Yeah, it's really
so there'll be many, many happy people.
Yeah.
The thickness is there with lots of descriptions.
Yeah. Lots of descriptions, and there's a lot of things that are coming this year. So we've got spiritual experiences, which we've turned from the Friday night seances to spiritual experiences. We've got adventures in mediumship, which is part of the Mediums League rather than it used to be Voices of Mediumship.
Yes, it used to be called that.
You know, we've got the normal things such as the ghost tours, the ghost walks, which aren't really ghost walks, by the way.
They're historical
tours. And honestly, Ray Taft and Ron Skowronski do an amazing job. So there's a lot of things that are going on. We've also got Thomas John Seatbelt Psychic coming. So he's coming. He was on Lifetime. We also have, here's a great person. Remember Conversations with God? Neil Donald Walsh. Neil Donald Walsh is coming.
Nice.
We also have, do you remember Celestine Prophecy? James Redfield.
Yes.
We have James Redfield too. So we've got some big names that are actually coming. So we're doing gallery events on the Saturday night as well. So most Saturdays you should be able to come and do a gallery in the auditorium as well. So it's kind of been shifted around a little bit, changed up.
There's pretty much something to do every minute of the day here in Lilydale.
Yes. Yes.
So, but you don't have to do everything. You don't.
No, you don't.
You can pick and you can choose, and you know, sometimes you just need to go sit down by the lake.
Definitely, and that's, sit at the stump or sit anywhere.
Yeah, sit on a bench and commune with nature.
And this year we've got a couple of weddings as well. We've started doing weddings here.
That's right, weddings.
So we've got weddings. We've got 2 in May. We've got 1 in October as well. We try not to do them in the summer season, but if someone wants to get married in the summer season, we're not going to turn you away, obviously. We just want to make it special, so therefore, you know, we can accommodate you. So there's a lot going on. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And then we have to announce, there's a new restaurant coming to town.
There is. So my fiance has teamed up with a local chef who, they all live in Lilydale. So Chef Jordan has, you know, been a chef all round. And me being the token vegan, vegetarian, it's difficult to eat.
Well, there are other vegetarians, other
True.
vegans here. But, you know, the ones that visit especially need something.
Absolutely. So I basically have moaned to the chef and I said, listen, there needs to be somewhere to eat healthy. We have Lucy's that do a lot of vegetarian, gluten-free and everything else, but they do a lot of pastries.
Yes.
We need something that is really
substantial
veggie, hearty food.
Yeah.
And so my fiance and Jordan teamed up, have now taken over the old Sunflower Cafe. It is now called the Bauhaus. And the Bauhaus came because of the name of where they used to do readings. And it was under the boughs.
Yeah, it was one of the first public message places.
That's right.
For the services here in Lilydale.
It was. So because of that, we have created the Bauhaus. And we're going to do a lot of healthy options, gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian, you know, and we'll also have your burgers, but we'll be taking on all sorts of different dietary, you know, issues. Yes. And, you know, we'll gluten-free, organic. So we're trying to make it as clean eating as possible. Listen, they have to have fries because I'm a fry junkie. I love my fries.
See, I just really don't think that fries are vegan.
They are.
I just like.
I can tell you, attest to the fact that they are vegan.
Isn't there like heat temperature required? That's super hot.
No, there are vegan. There are vegan fries, but you know what they've also got? They've got these gluten-free cheese sticks, which apparently are amazing.
They're not cheese though, are they?
They are cheese.
They're real cheese?
Yeah, they're real cheese.
But vegans can't have cheese.
No, that's true. Chris,
I can't give up cheese.
No, well, Chris is a cheese hound. I swear to you,
Yay, Chris.
He's going to look like a cheese stick, this man. But it's so funny because these cheese sticks they're gluten-free and they're amazing, apparently. I haven't tried them. So yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff there. So it's all going to look totally, totally different.
And then the opening for that is when?
It's May. We're doing a soft opening around May 24th. So,
and then is it going to be open weekends till season?
It'll be open.
Or
It'll
every
be
day
open
or something?
Weekends till season, Thursday night, all day Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. And then it will be open throughout the season. Obviously, we'll do late nights up until 11, 12 o'clock, certainly at weekends. And then after season, we'll be open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday.
Yeehaw!
So
for people who are coming off season, that's really good news because they would like a place to eat.
Yeah, and
when they come,
we'll do the catering, and if people need weddings and stuff like that. But there'll be, there's a lot there, but it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, so usually the restaurants in Lilydale are only open during the summer season. And the other two are Monica's Delights and Lucy's, which is yummy, and they're both yummy.
Absolutely.
And so it'll be great to have this as an addition. Very cool.
So quite excited, really.
Yeah,
I have nothing to do with it. I'm just making the design happen. But I am not doing anything in it. It's not my baby, it's theirs.
Yeah, because you got a wedding to plan.
I got a wedding to plan. I mean, seriously.
You got other fish to fry.
Yeah, I got other things to do.
Now, what else? Was there something else you mentioned that you have coming up that you wanted to tell people about?
So next weekend, or next Thursday, I'm actually at Samuel's Grand Manor in Buffalo doing 97 Rock, which is our local kind of radio show, is sponsoring me to go and do a big demonstration with them. So that's kind of cool as well. So it'll be a lot of fun.
What's the capacity for something like that?
I think it's like 400, 500 people.
So you can get tickets by...
I think go to 97rock.com or lisawilliams.com.
There you go.
Nice and easy.
So lots of fun to be had. Lisa's always doing something, traveling the world. I don't know. I think the last time you came, we talked about mediumship around the world and the different styles that are out there.
Yeah, we did.
So if you want, you can go back into the archive videos. As I said, Lisa has been a guest on my show before, so you can certainly go back in the archive videos of Willa White Medium and enjoy them again.
Yeah.
That's why we have them there, so that even if you missed it live, you can still catch it later. But, let us know that you enjoyed the show today. I'm really glad that you could be here to talk about mastering the message.
Great. Thank you.
And we went into detail, probably beyond what you thought you would even receive.
You know what's funny is I think sometimes when you just click with someone, you can just free flow with, and you're on the same wavelength, and our views are the same, the ethics are the same, and I think it's really important that we're authentic with how we work, and both of us work very differently, but we're authentic, and that's what people need to realize how real this is for us anyway. Yes,
it's a very real thing, and it helps to know that we're assisting people in this way. There's a vicarious spiritual thrill, I guess you could say, from all of that. It is hard work when we're in it. It can be easy on one level, but it's hard to go into those spaces with folks.
Definitely.
Energetically, we do what we can to keep ourselves strong and at the optimum level to serve people the way that we do.
And that's important.
It is indeed. Well, thank you so much for being on Wednesdays with Willa today. And before we go, I want to say that next week's guest is Judith Rochester.
Oh, I love her.
We're going to be talking about inspirational writing. And so that'll be a great show to tune into next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. She's my guest, and that'll be a good one to tune into because, as you said, Neil Donald Walsh is coming, and a lot of that was inspirational, but mainly automatic writing. So we'll be able to kind of go into depth with that next week. The week after that, my guest is Nancy Lombardo, and we're going to be talking about the effects of suicide on the living. So that's
it's gonna be heavy.
It's a heavy show.
But she's great.
She is fabulous. Great. Nancy Lombardo is a retired police detective, and she's had personal experiences with things, so it'd be great to have her on the show. And so those are things to look forward to on Wednesdays with Willa. Thank you, everyone, for your kind and beautiful attention. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.